Hi, welcome back to this course. On this session, we're going to talk about, and you're going to learn, how to craft prompts. Now, prompts are essentially the mechanism by which you generate information from ChatGPT. Prompts are absolutely critical to the success of anything you're creating with ChatGPT. If you do not know how to craft proper prompts, then you won't get the response back from ChatGPT. Let's just go over to the ChatGPT interface so you can understand what I'm talking about. So here's the front end, the interface for ChatGPT. And as you can see, it's very similar to Google in that there is a box at the bottom here into which you enter your command and send it, and the answers come back. Unlike Google, who gives you lots and lots of answers and then forgets you ever asked the question in the first place, ChatGPT is not like that. As the name suggests, it is a conversation. So when you ask it a question, that means or give it a command, that means you open a session. These are sessions that we've all opened, some of which I'll be using in the training. And the sessions run in such a way as a conversation, so it remembers the question before and the question before that, etc. So it's able to build on the information you've given it. And once you understand and grasp the fact that ChatGPT is far more than just a text box where you put something in and get an answer, and that it is a real conversation, then you'll start to realize just what you can achieve with this technology. But the very first thing I would say about this is that you need to be very, very clear and precise. There is a phrase we've already used in part one, which was garbage in, garbage out, or rubbish in, rubbish out. Whichever one I've used, it's the same for this. In fact, it's very relevant for this, because if you provide a weak, unstructured, unclear message, then that's the response you're going to get is unclear, etc. So let me give you an example. I've used, or I'm going to use as an example, a physiotherapist. I think we all know what physiotherapists are and what they do, so we can probably judge the kind of response we're going to get. So I'm going to put in a command: write an opening paragraph for a sales letter promoting a new physiotherapist opening in Manchester, and let's see what it comes back with. Dear residents of Manchester, are you tired of living with persistent pain and discomfort? It's time to say goodbye to your physical limitations and welcome a new era of wellness and mobility. We are thrilled to introduce you to an exceptional opportunity right in the heart of your city, the grand opening of our state-of-the-art physiotherapy clinic. With a team of highly skilled and compassionate professionals, cutting-edge treatments, and a commitment to your overall well-being, we are here to transform your life. Discover the true power of rehabilitation and regain control over a body you've never before, or your body like never before. It's time to rewrite your story, Manchester, and rewrite your story, Manchester. And we invite you to be part of this remarkable journey. Welcome to the future of physiotherapy. So as you see, one of the very first things I was taught when I started my sales and marketing career, and in particular in copywriting, is when you write copy, read it out loud. Because if you can read it out loud without stumbling and falling over words, then it's usually quite good. You see how many times I stumbled and fell over words there. So this is fairly basic. It's probably the kind of copy, if you have a look at it, that's similar to copy on dozens and dozens of physiotherapists or chiropractors or whatever all over the world. So there's nothing unique, there's nothing special about it. But we want something special. We're using ChatGPT to write a sales letter or copy for us that compels our prospects or readers to want to make contact with us. So let's see what happens when we make it a lot more specific. So here's what I've typed. I want you to act as an experienced direct response copywriter who's been tasked to write a sales letter to promote a new physiotherapist opening in Manchester. See, that's very specific instructions and a very specific role I want ChatGPT to play, that of an experienced direct response copywriter. I want you to begin by writing the opening paragraph only. See, very specific. The physiotherapist is targeting over 50s who are starting to feel stiff and sore due to the natural aging process, which means that they are no longer as active as they would like to be. Very targeted, very specific on a target market. Nowhere near what we would end up doing, but as a starting point, you can see the difference. I want you to start the letter based on the problem, agitate, solution framework. So we're giving the ChatGPT a guide on the kind of sales framework we want to be using, or sales copy we want to be using. The opening paragraph should focus on the problem and should highlight all the challenges an over 50s is facing with fitness and how it is affecting their quality of life. Make it compelling enough to want to read more. Include a hook to keep them engaged. The paragraph must paint a vivid picture of how life is for the prospect who is experiencing the problem. Use emotional appeal. Now, I'll press that out, and this will probably come back fairly quickly, but that kind of information is the kind of information you would have if you'd hired a copywriter and started a conversation with them. Those would be the kind of questions that you would have to... Those are the answers to the kind of questions a copywriter would give. So we've now done that, something very, very quickly to ChatGPT. Let's see what comes back. Dear stiff and sore in Manchester. I love that. Dear stiff and sore in Manchester. Do you ever find yourself waking up in the morning feeling like every joint in your body is protesting against the mere act of moving? The natural aging process is a way of sneaking up upon us, robbing us of the once familiar spring in our step and replacing it with stiffness and discomfort. It's frustrating, isn't it? Gone are the days of effortlessly bending down to tie your shoelaces or taking long walks without a second thought. Instead, you're left feeling limited, restricted, and yearning for the active lifestyle you once enjoyed. We understand the toll it takes on your quality of life, the missed opportunities, the experiences left unfilled, and the constant battle against a body that is determined, or seems determined, to slow you down. But fear not, because hope is on the horizon. There's an exciting breakthrough waiting for you, and it's called the power of tailored physiotherapy. Welcome to the future where movement is no longer a struggle, but a gateway to a vibrant and fulfilling life. Okay, it's not brilliant, is it? But this is instant. This has happened in, a couple of seconds. And this is so much better, isn't it, than the bland bit we heard before, this bit. This feels more emotional, it feels more targeted, because we've asked it specific questions to target it. So once you understand this, once you're able to craft these kind of prompts, and this is just fairly basic at the moment, but once you're able to craft these kind of prompts, you can see the difference it's going to make and how much more creative you can be, even if you're only using this as a guide, even if you're never going to use any word in here apart from it, are, and them. You've still got guides that enable you to create far better copy. And the thing is, what we're going to find out throughout the course is that you don't have to create that copy. This is the starting point for you to start using ChatGPT to create better copy by working on the prompts. So in your journey to learn how to master prompts, the overriding rule, the overriding guidance is to be as precise and clear as possible in all your prompts, as you can see from our examples. To help you remember this, I've paraphrased a famous saying, which is, what happens in vagueness stays in vagueness. And that's fairly true. So how do you create these prompts? Well, there's something you need to do first, something that very, very few people do, but once you start using this strategy, you'll be getting far better high quality and more relevant content from ChatGPT. What I call priming, with the initial primer obviously being the first. It's where you train ChatGPT to respond to your specific needs in a way that gives you exactly what you want. Now, it might sound confusing, the terms I'm using, and difficult, but it really isn't. As you'll see as we go through the course, it's basic common sense. The problem, of course, is that common sense isn't common. Although most people should be doing this, they're not. But it's so easy to implement that at the end of the course, you'll do it naturally without a second thought. Let's have a look at the detailed prompt I created for our example earlier on. And see if we can break it down into, there's 4 elements essentially. I'm going to break it down for you so you understand how the elements go together and how you can use them in your own prompt creation. And what we will do is then show you how to do the prime. Okay, so it starts with, I want you to act as an experienced direct response copywriter. What I've done there is I've given ChatGPT a role under which to perform. Now what this does is help guide ChatGPT and give it a context for the whole of the conversation. It helps ChatGPT understand the purpose of the conversation so the results are far more relevant. The next step is giving it a task or a speciality within that task. And here I've said it, a copywriter who's been tasked to write a sales letter to promote a new physiotherapist opening in Manchester. What this does is help further refine the responses that you're going to get. It helps give clarity and focus to the whole conversation. And the next step, the next stage, is to drill down into much more detail by adding all the relevant variables so you get more precise and more relevant response. This is usually the part that takes the longest, and occasionally you may have to do this over 1 or 2 or 3 prompts, because it's really the information about your product or service and your target market and how the problems, or rather your features and benefits, match the problems. The final part, which is more relevant when we're writing copy than if we're doing research, for example, is persuasive language, because we know how important that is in copy. And the last bit is I've used emotional appeal and asking it to paint a vivid picture, make it compelling. You can add anything in here. It really depends on what you want to achieve with your copy. So you could say you want to make it conversational, you want to make it humorous, you want to make it formal, you want to make it informal, pretty well anything you like. So that's the structure of what I would call an initial prime, or a prime prompt. And there is a way to remember this if we go back to the slide. So that's R for role, the role you're giving ChatGPT to act in. The speciality, the task, the certain task within that role. The variables, so target markets, features, benefits, advantages, etc. And the persuasive language you're using. So there we go, RSVP. That's an easy way for you to remember, isn't it? But of course, all we've done, excuse me, all we've done so far is look at the structure of a prompt within a conversation. What we need to do is prime, because I talked about priming, what we need to do is prime a complete conversation. I'm going to show you how to do that now. So you've learned how to put the prompt together, but now you're going to learn how to put it as a prime, which means you only have to do it once. You're basically putting the foundations for the whole conversation into ChatGPT. So let's start with the very first one. Again, I'm pasting it in because my typing is not good enough. So I've said, throughout this conversation, I want you to act as an experienced direct response copywriter who has been tasked with writing a sales letter for a new physiotherapist. Do you understand? This is important because you're going to get a response back from ChatGPT. If so, just say yes. It says, yes, I understand. As an experienced direct response copywriter, I will help you write a sales letter for a new physiotherapist. And then it asks me for the details. We're not going to give the details yet. It says, please provide me with any necessary information about the physiotherapist, their service, and their target audience. It's already started to understand what it would need as a role of a direct response copywriter. So it already knows the kind of questions it's expecting. Let's provide a little bit more meat on the bone. I've asked it, I will also provide you with a target market for which I will create a customer persona, which I will call Physio John. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. Please go ahead and provide me with the details of your target market. Again, it's asking the same kind of questions that a good copywriter, a good direct response copywriter would ask. So details of your target market and the customer persona, Physio John. So now we've got a name. So we now don't need to start referring to target markets, etc. Physio John. And we need to put details for Physio John in, obviously, because the ChatGPT has asked us. But let's see if we can refine it a little bit more. Okay, let's try this. I will also give you all the features of the physiotherapy practice so you can convert them into benefits and match them to Physio John's problems and pains. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. Please provide me the features of the physiotherapy practice and I will help convert them into benefits that address Physio John's problems and pains. So this is now primed. We're going to be using this in the future. This is primed so that we don't have to keep repeating ourselves. ChatGPT, or this session of ChatGPT, is a session in which ChatGPT already knows that it is acting as a direct response copywriter and already knows the kind of things that we should be giving it. Well, it's helping us already. I mean, we know these things already, but ChatGPT are keeping us on track. So you see how powerful this really is. So that's how to understand priming, but there are also another few elements of prompts that you need to understand, and a couple of tips and tricks we'll go through to help you get the best out of prompts before we get into the meat of creating something. If you go back to our original prompts and the detailed prompt, or the detailed response we got from our detailed prompt. Now, there's lots of ways you can change this when I'm talking about don't take the first response. The easiest way is obviously just do regenerate response. I've never been convinced that's actually brilliant, because it doesn't do a great deal of difference, to be honest with you. It just changes the words around a little bit. I mean, sometimes it might give you some ideas, but it's certainly one way to do it. What you could also do is take certain parts out of it and see if you can change that. So let's take this sentence out and copy and paste it. Print. Where's paste gone? It didn't copy, did it? Let's try it again. Copy and there we go, paste. Please rewrite sentence and give it more emoji. Now resonant. Specific examples. Oops. There we go. And this is just the sentence, remember. But as the relentless march of time passes on, our bodies begin to echo the years gone by, like a symphony of aches and oh dear. Each step becomes a weighty burden, with joints protesting every movement, reminding us of our mortal limitations. The vibrant spark that we once danced within us dims, fade. Oh, don't know what this has been reading. It's very woolly, isn't it? Fading into the distant recesses of memory. No longer do we leap effortlessly out of bed. Instead, we are greeted by the unwelcome chorus of cackling joints and nagging discomfort. See, even though this has come out and it's a bit Shakespearean, look, we've got leap effortlessly out of bed. That's a leap effortlessly out of bed. It's a great expression, because that's the kind of thing, if you've got back joints or pains or stiffness, I know from experience, washing a couple of cars and then waking up the next morning and it's really sore, getting out of bed, that's a great thing to use. So even though it's not perfect, we're always going to get some response back. Now what you can also do, believe it or not, is you can ask ChatGPT, in its role as a direct response copywriter as it is today, to tell us if there are any problems with that sentence. Sorry, that paragraph. Now, I can't claim the originality for this. I got this from a guy called Martin Avis over in the UK, a brilliant copywriter and marketer. But he gave me this idea. So in your role as a okay, I stopped it there because my typing was rubbish. So, in your role as a successful direct response copywriter, we're asking ChatGPT this, remember. Give me 5 things that are wrong with that paragraph. Let's see what happens. Interesting. Emotional appeal. As a direct response copywriter, it's recognised its own faults. That's amazing, isn't it? So now it's recognised the faults. Let's ask it to rewrite. There we go. And suddenly it's changed. And this is ChatGPT using its own intelligence, if you like, to change it to what it thinks is better based on the fact that you're asking it to be in its role as a direct response copywriter. Are you feeling tired of? Are you tired of feeling like a prisoner in your own body as the relentless hands of time tighten their grip? Imagine waking up in the morning, free from the shackles of stiffness and pain, ready to conquer the world with a renewed sense of vitality. Picture yourself gliding effortlessly through each day, no longer burdened by the weight of creaking joints and limited mobility. There we are. It's a little bit better. We can continue doing this, by the way. We can ask 4 or 5 different ways of doing it. What you can also do to change it is ask it to write in a different tone. So let's try that. Rewrite the article in a more... Oh, no, it's not an article, is it? Paragraph. Paragraph in a more humorous tone. So you can change the voice. I get a rusty tin man. But I have to warn you though, humour. I know humour's different all the world over, and even from state to state and city to city in the UK. So sometimes I don't know where it gets the humour from. However, are you tired of feeling like a rusty tin man, desperate in need of an oil can? It's time to put the end to the morning wake-up creaks, the stiff joints that make you feel like a walking marionette, and the endless battles against gravity that leave you feeling like a reluctant participation in a slow-motion dance-off. The thing is, if you wanted humour, it's there. It can find it for you. Okay, this ain't going to get on Saturday Night Live, is it? But it's there. So that's another way you can do it. What you can also do, we mentioned humour, ask it to write it in a different voice. So, are you familiar with the copywriter Dan Kennedy? I don't need to worry about spelling. It understands spelling, which thank God it does. Yep, so he knows it. So let's try it. Rewrite the paragraph in the style of Dan Kennedy. The style. Too many Y's. So it recognised, it understands who Dan Kennedy is, and a great copywriter. I'm sure you've heard of him. So it can rewrite the paragraph in the style of Dan Kennedy. So here we go. Prepare yourself to embark on an illuminating journey through the realm of copywriting. Oh, way up. That's not really what I asked. See, sometimes it does go wrong. That is completely not what we wanted. I'll see what happens. Attention, weary souls trapped in a body that defy your desires for freedom and vitality. Prepare to be whisked away on a journey of rejuvenation and rediscovery as I unveil a physiotherapy revolution unlike anything you've experienced before. Enter the realm of Manchester's newest physiotherapy practice, where the magic of movement is restored and the chains of discomfort are shattered. Picture this, a world where achy joints, stubborn stiffness and limited mobility become nothing more than distant memories. With the expert guidance of our dedicated team, you'll break free from the clutches of physical limitations and embrace a life filled with vigour, strength and unbounded potential. From tailored treatment plans to cutting-edge techniques, we leave no stone unturned in our quest to unleash your body's hidden powers. Are you ready to reclaim your youthful vitality and revel in the joy of unrestricted movement once more? Then step into the realm of Manchester's premier physiotherapy oasis, where your transformation awaits. Secure your place in the annals of success, schedule your appointment today, and prepare to unleash the true potential of your magnificent human machine. That's brilliant. I think that's superb. But in this short part here, you've just seen how you can use the different ways to change what you get from your prompts. As we go through the course, you'll see how we can use these. There are other tips and techniques as well, but I don't want to get too bogged down in the prompts, despite how important they are, because we really want to be looking at how we can create the sales copy that we're talking about. So we've gone from, I can't remember what the beginning was, some rubbish. Where are we? If we go to the very top, here we are. Are you tired of living with chronic pain or limited mobility? Introduce an exciting opportunity that's set to transform your life. See, it's hard to even read. That's part of the problem I'm talking about. 2. Attention, weary souls trapped in bodies that defy your desires for freedom and vitality. Prepare to be whisked away on a journey of rejuvenation and rediscovery as I unveil a physiotherapy revolution unlike anything you've experienced before. There's a huge amount of difference in those pieces of copy. So that's the end of this session, and in the short time we've spent together looking at prompts, you've learned and now know more about creating clear and precise prompts than the vast majority of people using ChatGPT, which means you really are that far ahead. So well done. And I'll see you in the next session when we'll start putting things together a little bit